Hey, it's Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's August 3rd. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and we're starting a new month. Believe it or not, July's already come and gone. I don't know where the time's going, but anyway, we're starting a new month. So, actually, before we get started on the chart lesson, since it's going to be pretty quick, there's not a lot of trades today. I got a lot of emails about people struggling to find the trend today. Well, that's because it was hard to find. There really wasn't a consistent trend today. Really, for the most part, this is all sideways. It has an upward bias, and there was a little bit of a spike in channel here, but we broke that early and had two legs up. You can see leg one, then there's a little two-legged correction, then another two legs up that are all part of that second leg, and then we sold off after that, or corrected, I guess you should say. You can see that's pointing down, and it's mostly down, but it's still a lot of sideways. So there's just no real direction today. And so it was a little bit harder, and there's not a lot of setups either. And another thing is, this is NT8, and for y'all that think NT8's a great, I'm just going to tell you, you don't know what you're missing. I've struggled with this thing all day. There's bugs in it. I mean, just something as simple as trying to get this arrow to line up with a bar, you can't do it. It either sits to the left or it goes to the right. There's no way to get it right on it. Can't do it. I've tried and tried all day. Um, it's just very buggy. There's lots of bugs in it. It's not very user friendly compared to NT7. I've wondered in why they haven't gotten rid of NT7 and why they keep hanging on to it. But now I know, because they're going to get so many complaints about NT8. It's not good. I'm just telling you. For those of you that like it, it's probably only because you never used NT7. So I can just tell you, it's full of bugs, little quirks. Um, some of it could be the fact that I think some of the bugs are due to the custom indicators. They're probably not written properly or not well written or something of that nature, because I know there's a couple of them that don't show up. Just to give you an example, if you come in here, if you like right here, if you see opening price, I like to remove the labels so they're not all up here. But if you remove the label, apply that, well, then it disappears. It's gone from here. You can't find it. It's still there. It's just like a little, see, it's just like a blank spot. If you click on it, you can see it. So that's a problem. Let's see if the tick counter, I noticed I added the regular tick counter down here just to compare it to the special one, and it seems to be working fine. Let's remove tick counter and see if it disappears. See, it doesn't disappear. So I think it's something to do with whoever wrote this. I forget what, I think that's opening price. And there were some questions in the comment section on the website about what this is. Basically, this is marking the opening price at 8:30 a.m. So you can kind of get an idea where it opens on the regular session chart versus the close. It shows you this gap right here. So that's what the purpose of this is. So it's not to show the open. Some of you were trying to tell me the openings down here. Well, I know that, but that's not what we're measuring. We want to know where it opened at 8:30, and that's what when you see this color change to white, and then when it changes back at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's what this is. I'm looking for the price opening at 8:30. Not sure if that's exactly right, but it's close enough that you know where it's somewhere up here, and we closed the previous day down here, and so you know where the gap is basically. So hope that's clear. There was a couple other things. If you try to save your template, I like to keep my template default. I get an error. I mean, it's just rife with bugs. Your trend lines don't draw well. The colors are, I don't think there's as many color options. If they are, they're odd. I'm not very happy with it. I'll just be honest with you. And I know a lot of that generally you would just chalk it up to new user not being used to it, but the bugs are not new user stuff. That's just stuff that it doesn't work right. it's buggy, and there's no way around that. So, and again, some of those bugs might be due to the custom indicators. I'm not sure. Maybe we just don't have very good indicators yet. Yet people, I mean, we don't know. I don't know who wrote all of these indicators, um, but some of them do seem to be buggy. So, and that could be the whole issue. At least that could be the issue with the bugs I've shown you so far. But sometimes when you draw your trend lines and you copy them and drag them over, they get off track. They don't line up. See how those perfectly line up? Well, a couple of times I did that and they didn't line up properly. So I don't know. I'm just not very happy with it. I'm probably going to go back to NT7. Um, one thing that somebody did show me that we need to try here, go ahead and do this. If you go into this is on the NT8 only. If you go into your data series, there's a break at end of day. Supposedly, if everybody checks that, it will start your count from the same place and our charts will look closer or be almost identical. That's what I've been told. Now, we'll just have to try it and see. I just showed it to you, so you let me know if it works or not, and we can go from there. So if you wanted to, again, just right click with your mouse and find your data series, or however you get to your data series. There's a couple of different ways to get there, and look for this break at end of day, and just make sure you check that. And supposedly what that's going to do is start everybody's chart counting at 1800 hours, which is 6 p.m. in the evening. I believe that's what it was described to me. So when you open your chart, if you're using a 2000 tick chart, it should look real close to mine, if not exact. So let's just try it and see. Well, you can try it and comment tomorrow and let me know. But again, I may not be using NT8 very long. I'm going to play around with it a little more. And there's another indicator that I like to use. All right, this is NT7 here. I think I got the volume chart open, but it doesn't matter. But I like to use this. I'm trying to remember the name of this. This is called the Pat Risk, and I believe Steve wrote this. Steve, I don't know if you still watch the videos. I get something from him every now and then, but if you have this for NT8, would you send it to me? And if you don't, you could let me know either way. Just let me know that you heard me say this. But this is pretty neat because you can just click on any of these bars and it tells you how many ticks are in it. You can see the range of that bar is 12 ticks. The range of that bar is 11 ticks. See what this big one is here. Range of that bar is 11 ticks. It tells you the risk amount for if you traded that bar, if you used it. You can see that at the very bottom, 175 there. It tells you the opening price, closing price. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. I really like that indicator, especially when I'm doing the videos, because sometimes I want to know how big a bar is. I just push down on my mouse button, and it's actually not your clicker, it's your mouse roller. Mine has a little click roller on it. You just click down on it. And that's a pretty handy little indicator there. So if I believe Steve wrote that for us, and if Steve is still around, if he has it for NT8, if you wouldn't mind sharing it, that'd be great. But I've put most of the indicators up that we have for NT8. There's still a couple of them I haven't put up there. The ones we mostly use, I think I've got them up. The more important ones, the tick counter and so forth. But here's the other thing I wanted to show a few people. This is the website, I mean, if you just go here, it's your home page. But I had, every now and then somebody will contact me and say, I can't find your email address. Well, right here it's on every single page under important links. There's a contact us right there. That goes straight to me. It's on every single page. So, I get a lot of emails and questions, same ones over and over. And everything, I guess what I'm asking you is take a moment to go through the web. There's so much stuff here, and I know it's overwhelming. There's almost so much stuff, but it's fairly well organized to find stuff now. We got the new search here if you want to search for something. Um, the big one is look at the frequently asked questions. I mean, most people try to sell you all this information. I got it here for free. And just about every question I'm asked over and over, it's right here. Just take a minute before you send me an email. I don't. It's not that I mind. I want to make sure I clarify this. It's not that I mind people sending me emails, but when it's right here, and I get the same email 25 times a day, it just becomes overbearing for me. And so if you would just take a moment to look, most of this stuff's here. I've tried to put it all here and make it easy to find. Again, doesn't matter what page you go to. You can even go down here to the testimonials page. I'm pretty sure it's all right there. All of these links, the last 10 posts are right here. So the mid-morning charts here. There's all your midday charts. There's a link to find our daily YouTube video lessons. The membership. People say, how do I find out more about the membership? Just right there underneath that membership area, it's on every page. Click it, and there's a whole page there that describes what the membership area is. So I don't have to type it out 100 times. People say, how do you sign up? Well, there's the register button right there. Now I will say, and it tells you the prices right there as well. That's the other big one I get. How much is it? Well, it's all right here. And again, I don't mind answering it. I don't want you to think that I'm, being tough on people because I don't want to answer your questions. But it's just with 25 or 30 of the same emails, by the time I get through with email, I mean, it's 200 or 300 emails a day with the same questions over and over. So I'm showing you this stuff to help you. Help me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And here's the big one. People will send me an email. I can't find something. Well, look, here's these video lesson links. Click on that right there. It's at the top of the page. And you got two options here. One of them is non-member articles. One of them is members. I'll just show you the members because most of the stuff is usually members that are looking for something. And you get this, you'll find this page right here, and it's actually categorized. You may have to click on it to get it to scroll, but it scrolls, and everything's categorized. Psychology, charts, key entry points, trend lines, trend line breaks, entries, congestions and ranges, reversal patterns, failed second entries, counter trend, market geometry, safety stops, trade management. Everything on our site is listed here. This is the paid stuff. And just say you want to look at price action reversal, just click on it. It takes you straight to that article. And there it is for you with the video right there. And now make sure you note, sometimes if you're looking at your phone or some real small screen, the way this is designed, it will move this from the side page to the very bottom down here. So if you're looking at your phone, you may not find it on the side of this page, but it's there. It's at the bottom of the page. So just go to the bottom of your page. It's all there. And it really helped me if you would just look a little bit before you ask a question. Just try to help me and help yourself. It's so much quicker than to wait for me to answer anyway, for you just to look. But everything's here, the manuals. Where do I find the link to the manuals? There, right there, Max. Of course, if you go to the front page, there's a button at the top and a button at the bottom. But if you're on some other page, just click right here. There's our manuals. And every one of them are listed right here with a link to buy. It's simple. It's all there. And just look around a little bit, and it would really be helpful to me so it could cut down on some of these, redundant emails. And that's the whole reason I created this frequently asked questions. And so I wouldn't have to answer these emails every day, and people won't look. They just email me instantly. They won't even look. So I guess I'm begging you and pleading with you to help me, help you by just, I guarantee you 90% of your questions are in this frequently asked question. Because anything I get asked more than a few times, I put it on here. And I mean, there's some good information here. When I'll usually send somebody there for one particular question, and they'll come back and say, wow, I wish I'd have known that was there. because there's so much good stuff there. Well, if you just take a minute and look around, there's some good stuff on this website. So really take a look around. Okay, I think that's enough about that. But again, I don't want people to think I'm complaining because, but it's really would be helpful for me, and it would be helpful for you as well if you just look in those places first. Look at the frequently asked questions. Right down the right hand side, there's the membership that has everything you need to know about the membership, how to buy it, how to log in. Everything's right there in that box. It's all right there. So just take a moment to look around and familiarize yourself with the site, and it'll be helpful to you. So, and when you're trying to find the video lessons, use that video lessons links because it's all categorized, and I didn't even show you the free stuff. There's just as much, there's probably more free stuff there too. I may not go into as many details, but it's there. So anyway, hope that's helpful, and I hope it helps slow some of the emails. But let's look at the chart. You can see there's a couple of ways. Really, to me, I see a spike and channel up, and you get a break here, and the two legs up, and then it sells off. But the blue is not necessarily wrong, and you get a break here and two smaller legs up, and you still get a sell-off. So you get to the same place either way. It might have helped you with this if you saw the blue, but really if you draw this right properly, you would have drawn it like that, and it still doesn't help you here. You still end up getting your break around the same place and two legs up. So some of you drew it like this, and I'm not saying that's wrong, but that if you draw it the way we teach you off the first two swings, you don't come up with this channel. It looks fairly accurate, but I don't think it really changes anything how you see it. So I'm going to take the blue one off. Either way, you still get the break right here. Actually, if you drew the blue one, you wouldn't get the break here, but it still gets you to the same place. So if you drew the blue one properly, it still gets you to the same place, I guess I should say. So anyway, but I see this spike and channel up, and we get the break and two legs up, and then we sell off. And this is just a weak uptrend, mostly sideways. So and not a lot of trades. So this won't take long, but I'm going to get through them. We're already 20 minutes here, and I'm going to get through these, and we'll call it a day. But early on, all we had to contend with was this channel up. You get a close outside a new high, and notice you got that new high. You try to go higher once, twice, so there's a failed second entry long at the highs, a nice bearish bar with plenty of room back to the EMA. That's a good place to go short. There's a lower high here. I don't think you want to enter right into the EMA. My signal bar is no good. You might look at this as a failure, but we pushed back through the EMA and we're bouncing off of it, so I don't think you want to go short. I don't see anything else there I like. And then we do get the break here and a couple legs down, but notice you get a little repeat pattern to this. You made this high, you try to go higher once, twice. I made this one green, and see, here's another thing. You cannot get that arrow. I don't care how hard you try. You can't get it any closer without just sticking it on it, and you can't really point directly at it. It's just, it's frustrating. But anyway, there's a failed second entry long there, and so you might think about going short right there. It's a nice bearish bar too. But notice that we get our third touch and confirmation here. I don't have a very good signal bar, and you don't get a high or low till way up here, and you don't want to be entering up there. It does come back right here. I did not mark this trade. There's a lot of stem on mine, but if you had a good second, I mean, you could probably argue for this one to be green. I'll mark it green. I'm not crazy about it. It is off the midline too, and it is two legs back. But notice we hadn't been bouncing there off the midline, so it's not as reliable. But you may take that trade if you had a good if I had a really good signal bar there, I'd take that trade. There's a high or low here, but you can see how it's just kind of congestive, and we're right back into the highs. So I don't think you want to enter there. And it just kind of ends up chopping around and going sideways here. There's a triple touch up here, but you don't have enough room to get out before the EMA and the low here, so it ends up working, but you don't know that ahead of time. Then we just fell out the bottom, and this is pretty much this. Technically, by the count, this is not. You get a new swing high here, so this is just a first entry. So this is really the second entry and the better place to enter. This is a failed break lower, and it looks like a couple of legs down, but that's a nice signal bar. You're probably going to come back, but generally you're better off to wait on that higher low, which is right here. And then you actually get a failed second entry short. And I like entering again there if you didn't enter here. And if you want to be real aggressive, there's nothing wrong with entering right there. And of course it doesn't go very far, and then you get this lower high, and that's a nice bearish bar. I like going short right there. At this point, I'd look for another. I'd measure probably this leg. And I know there's some way to put the two bar on this one down the left side. I hadn't even had time to look at that yet. So if somebody wants to email me how to do that, that'd be great. But there's your measured leg down. We went a little further than that. Then it reverses. And you don't get a failure till way up here. And a true reversal, you want it to be off the EMA, so you don't want to enter up there. And unfortunately, you just don't get a good chance to enter this. It's just not a very good setup. There's a second entry long. Notice that eye, first entry, that it corrects and it makes a matching eye. When it breaks above that, that's technically a second entry, but you don't want to enter down here like that. So you just don't get a good entry. And then it runs up here and it breaks out, and it just turns out to be a failure. But notice you make that new swing high. It's a little swinger than that, higher than that one, and then you make a lower one. I like going short right there. And then we break out the low side. You got that support there, and notice that new low. You get a first entry, then a second entry, and it bounces right back off the support. You got enough room, go long right there. There's another little pull back here, but there's not enough room. It would have worked, I think, but you can't risk that into that resistance right there. But it comes back and tests it again, and you got enough room so you can go long again there. And that pretty much did it. There's a higher low here that you might think about. We did push through here a couple of times, so you might risk that trade right there. I didn't mark it. You probably could argue for it to at least be green. But anytime you enter in the middle, it's suspect, and you're entering. Actually, it's right here. Notice that new low, and you try to go short once, twice. So it is a trap, and a lot of times those traps are what they use to push it on through the resistance when they can't get through, and that's what they did here. But I'd prefer that trap to give you enough room to get out too, and it doesn't. So. And that pretty much took you into 2 o'clock, and I don't see anything else. So there just wasn't a lot of trades. It wasn't a clear trend line today. So if you had trouble finding the trend line, it's because it was hard to find. I still believe this to be correct. The spike and channel up, and you had the break and 2 legs up. And even if you drew the blue one the way a couple of you did, drawing it across here, you still get the break right here and then 2 legs up. So you really come out the same place either way you do it. So technically, if you drew it correctly off these lows, you should draw it off the closes, and that gives you that right there. And you still got these trades based on the breakout, and it's still, I know some of you drew it here, but technically, I mean, there's no reason you couldn't adjust it to that regardless. So I'm not saying that's wrong, but you don't find this till really almost 10 o'clock either. So either way you did it, if you did it either of those ways, you're okay, and you really end up at the same place. So it's not a big deal. But if you didn't find a lot of good trades, it's because there's not a lot of good trades. I mean, I see 1, Okay, I had a little interruption there, but I'm going to wrap it up. I think we're done for today. We're at 25 minutes, and we didn't have but about a 5-minute chart lesson, but some of that other stuff was important. But anyway, um, yeah, I'm not real happy with NT8. I'm not, you know, at first I wanted to kind of blame it on just new user fatigue or whatever, trying to figure it out. But there's bugs in this thing, and it may not be the software, it could be the indicators, but a lot of those indicators are important and we want to use them. So anyway, I'm not real pleased with it so far. I'm not going to give up yet, but we'll see. Um, Give me some feedback on the end of day thing that I showed you. Um, Make sure just break it into day. Supposedly that's going to make everybody's chart look the same. I'm not convinced, but this trader he's told me some other stuff and he's usually been right. So I assume he knows what he's talking about. We'll find out. So anyway, there's my chart for today with that end of day chosen using the 2000 tick chart. You can tell me if you've already got yours, that box checked on yours, if your chart looks exactly like mine or not. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.